Welcome. I'm Sebastian Mahfood, and you're listening to WCAT Radio, the on-air wing of En route Books and Media, bringing you the dulcet sounds of Catholic wisdom.
Halftime Pep Talk. The topics we've been discussing are not easy. Philosophy requires rigorous, abstract thinking, and it is easy to tire quickly, even during a brief introduction like this. We have more topics to go, and our understanding and application of the basic principles about truth, being, and logic will be put to the test. So I thought it would be good to offer some inspiration by way of a story to keep you moving through this point. This is not a story about a particular philosopher. It is a story about every philosopher. It will give you a picture of where you have been and, hopefully, where you are going. It was written as a story within a larger book called The Republic, written by Plato, another book that I cannot recommend highly enough. Plato was also the author of the Apology, from which we got the story about Socrates in the introduction. Fittingly, this story is also placed in the mouth of Socrates, though it is doubtful that Socrates ever actually told this story. It is sometimes known as the allegory of the cave. Imagine a deep underground cave with a small entrance and a large ceiling. On the floor of the cave are prisoners who are bound so that they cannot move their bodies or turn their heads. They're stuck facing the back wall of a cave, and they've been sitting like this all their lives. The little light that comes in through the entrance of the cave casts their own shadows on the wall in front of them. Above and behind them is a platform where there is a fire, and people bring cutouts of all sorts of things in front of the fire, and their shadows are cast onto the wall. The prisoners have only seen shadows in their lives, so they think that the shadow created by the cutout of the dog is actually a dog, and the shadow of their neighbor is actually their neighbor, and the shadow cast by the cutout of a tree is actually a tree. They even think that the echo of a person imitating a dog on the platform above is actually the sound that a dog makes. Since the sound echoes off the wall where the shadow of the dog appears, it seems like the bark is coming from the dog. This, we would say, is a sad way to live. But it is all these people have known. They think they know about dogs and trees and their neighbors, but they really only know shadows. Imagine now that someone comes and sets one of the prisoners free and makes him stand up. Do you think that the freed prisoner will appreciate this? He has never stood up before. And what if he is made to look at the light coming from the entrance to the cave and the fire and the cutouts? His eyes will hurt and he'll be confused. The cutout of the dog will seem less real to him than the shadow he has always known. He will beg to be let go so that he can sit down again and resume the comfortable bonds of his previous existence. But imagine that the liberator grabs a firm hold of the freed man and drags him out of the cave and into the light. The freed man will barely be able to open his eyes because of the light, and real trees and dogs would be even stranger to him than the cutouts. If his liberator tells him that these are real trees and dogs, then the freed man will call him a liar. The freed man first begins by looking around at night, then in the morning or evening, and then finally he can see during the day. Then he finds that he can look directly at the sun, and he can think about the sun and study the sun, and he finds that it is by the sun that he is able to see all other things. This is what philosophy is about. We are all brought up in a society with certain ideas about what is good, true, and beautiful, or that there is no goodness, truth, or beauty. So when our previous ideas are challenged, it hurts. We don't want to be forced to see our errors. We liked our comfortable fiction. It is difficult and painful work to purge away our old notions of things and learn to see and reason correctly about existence and morality. But it is worth every second. Every step closer to truth is a step well taken, no matter how painful. Picture in your mind the cave. People are lined up in rows, all facing forward. Above and behind them there is a light that produces an image on a large wall in front of them. What does this sound like? A movie theater? And how often are we convinced that the world in the movies is real life, and that our own lives are just a boring copy of the movie world? That the fame, violence, vengeance, lust, greed, fancy cars, big houses, expensive stuff, and excitement are what life is all about. Philosophy calls out and brings your attention back to reality, back to the beauty and goodness of the world all around you. But seeing the light is not the end of the story, neither in philosophy nor Plato's tale. The freed man remembers the other prisoners and feels badly for them. He remembers the misery of that life, even though he loved it at the time, and he endeavors to go back down into the cave to free them. But when he arrives, he can't see. His eyes are so used to the real things and the light of the sun that he can't make out the shadows on the wall. If they held a contest to see who can identify the objects on the wall first, he will certainly lose. Though he doesn't care about their games, they ridicule him and say that he got dumber by going out there, wherever that is. He tries to tell them about the beauty of reality, but they rise up against him and kill him. Does that sound familiar? For Plato, this was Socrates. Notice that no one left the cave willingly or on his own. There was someone else who compelled him. Socrates was that liberator who came to Athens to set men free. For us, this is an image of Jesus, the liberator who came to set us free, not only from ignorance, but also from sin. Jesus came not just to give us the truth, but to give us truth, capital T, himself. Your life as a true philosopher and a Christian is not going to be understood by the world around you. But take courage. Jesus said that the grain of wheat must die if it wants to bear fruit. You can give in to the call of truth, capital T truth, and let your illusory life of celebrities, entertainment, money, and comfort die, so that you can bear the fruit of true wisdom and goodness. Or you can hold on to those things and rot. I realize that neither option might sound very appealing, but you must choose. In fact, you already choose, and you will choose for the rest of your life. Every decision you make is a step in one direction or the other. Even if the actions themselves are inconsequential, how you do them might make all the difference.
We hope you enjoyed the program and will join us back for another show on WCAT Radio. This is Sebastian Mahfood. Good day.